We want to thank our outstanding sponsor, Touring & Cruises Travel. It's the same team as Touring Plans Travel, but with a new name. Their travel advisors will take care of your Disney or other travel destination needs. Make sure you tell them Rope Drop Radio sent you. Now, on to the show.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. Derek and Doug talking all things Disney. And today, Doug, it's all about being a Disney adult. Something that a lot of our listeners probably have in common. Something that you and I both obviously are. But it's all about to be a Disney adult. Yeah. We go to Disney World a lot.
We do.
I
suppose.
Watch movies and Star Wars, and
we do it.
I'm wearing a Disney shirt, and we're Disney adults for sure. So we have an amazing guest from across the seas joining us here in a little bit. But first, we got some things we got to cover, including our trip coming up, Doug.
Yeah, the springtime surprise. I will be slowly meandering the race course. You notice I downgrade how fast I'm going to run every time. I'm not using the word run anymore, but I'm going to do it. So springtime surprise, April 3rd through the 6th. Come join us. Not sure if you can still register. You might be able to, but you don't have to run. You can still come hang out. Various meet and greets will be meet and greets. We sound like a character, Derek.
Yes,
we kind of are. Come meet us, greet us.
That's for sure.
Share a beverage with us. We'll be there April 3rd through the 6th. Book through Touring & Cruises, and we'll love you forever.
Awesome. And another way we'll love you forever is if you join us on Patreon. So Sean Doetry upgraded to the churro level. Thank you so much, Sean. And thank you to all of our Patreons. I'm going to actually get my November Zoom in here in December. Sorry, wrecking a car kind of threw me off guard a little bit. So I'm a week late, but I promise Patreons that is coming. So join me this weekend. I'll just tease it there on the show if you're hearing it now.
And then I'll be in a couple weeks before Christmas. So Zoom calls, they're coming. We'll get them in.
Yep.
Another great way to support the show, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. If you leave a 5-star review, we will read it on air and love you forever. This week's 5-star reviews titled, Love the Show, 5 stars by The Mouse Tales Show. I've been listening to your show for a couple of years and just love it. Derek and Doug covered Disney so well, you've inspired me to start my own Disney podcast this year with a friend. Thank you. All right. So
I'm going to give that a listen. All right, everyone go check it out right now.
The Mouse Tales Show. That's a smart way to
right
promote
now.
Your show. That's
that
genius.
is. In fact, we should do that more often.
We should start doing that, Derek.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Good job, Mouse Tales Show. All right. Thank you for the review and for listening. All right. And then we have Top of the Class, 5 stars by D's 1978. I'm not sure when my family's next trip will be, but I know I'll be ready after listening to your podcast. Thank you for not turning the podcast into a travel agent ad. I can handle the reference at the beginning, and then it's right to the Disney World content, just how it should be. Keep up the great work. Thank you for the review. Thanks for listening. Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. We got to plug the sponsors though. They keep the lights on.
Got to do that. Yep. Yeah. That is what we have to do. So thank you so much for listening and leaving reviews. And thank you to our sponsors, of course. But today I'm excited to welcome a guest that after building a thriving film and TV career with credits on major network shows as Bridgerton, which Derek loves, by the way, and has watched every episode. She's also worked on The Witcher, which Derek did not love as much. She is now setting her sights on another passion, screenwriting. But before fully diving into the world, she is returning to the magic that first ignited her love for filmmaking, Disney. As a self-proclaimed Disney adult, she has been hard at work on her debut book, How to Be a Disney Adult. Get ready for Laugh Out Loud journey. It's going to be a magical ride. So to discuss Disney adults, let's welcome on the author of How to Be a Disney Adult, Lydia Steiner.
Hi.
Thank you. I love Bridgerton. Yes, love it. Watch it constantly.
I'm so glad you like it.
Maybe in the after show we get to what you didn't like about The Witcher. I don't know, Derek. It's just
I'm
throwing
very
that
I
in
didn't play
there.
the game. I think I didn't play the game, so I couldn't. I mean, Henry Cavill's gorgeous. I will admit that, but like I didn't play the game, so maybe I'll give it another shot sometime.
Well, even more controversially, I actually worked on the Liam Hemsworth season, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well,
All right.
that is
Well,
controversial.
the last review liked that we got to the Disney content right away. I don't know if we're succeeding. Anyway, Lydia, thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you go ahead and share some of your Disney story with the Rope Droppers?
Of course. So, I mean, I've loved Disney for as long as I've been capable of loving anything. I grew up on it, the films, the stories, everything about it, and then was lucky enough to get to visit some of the parks when I was younger, starting with Paris, which is my more local park, and then got to go to Orlando with family. And then when it came to the point where I no longer had to pay, no longer had to ask for the bill payer's permission, I decided to not pay bills and instead just go to Disney. So as my friends kind of like ran off to go to Ibiza and Miami and places like that, I was like, no, I want to go and see my friend the mouse. And it has been an all consuming addiction ever since. And that is how I fell in love with story and storytelling and how I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. And yeah, I've just really been obsessed with it ever since.
Love it.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and if you can't tell, Lydia is from England. So our first ever guest from the United Kingdom, England. I could use all the different words to describe the country, couldn't I? But I won't. I'll stop there.
Probably the longest commute to Walt Disney World of any of our guests as well.
That is actually so true. Yeah, that shows how committed.
That's
and
commitment. That's a
obsessed
Disney
Yeah.
adult right there. When you are like, how long does it take to get from London to Orlando?
Around 8 to 10 hours, dependent on air traffic, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Oof.
commitment.
Yeah,
You might be a Disney adult if you're spending 8 hours to go.
darn right. Yeah. So how and why did you decide to start writing this book?
So I've always wanted to be a writer, and I started with books when I was younger, and then I moved on to screenplays, and then I kind of got my break in production and working in film and TV, and then all of a sudden this like concept of being a writer and getting to write stories kind of seemed possible. And so then I focused more on scripts and script writing. But in recent years, I kind of haven't been able to shift the idea of wanting to write a Disney book because I think obviously that's just what I love and I'm so hyper focused on. So it all kind of seemed to come together like really serendipitously, and that I should write this book about Disney and why I fell in love with storytelling and the art of story. And it kind of came together like this is kind of the beginning of my writing journey, but also the beginning of why I fell in love with story. And I think Disney adults have always been a hot topic, and being an adult who doesn't have any children, I kind of feel that a lot more, and kind of the heat that you can kind of get from the people talking about it. You don't have to not have children to be a Disney adult, of course. I kind of never felt like it's more important for this book to kind of be written. It's not only about like kind of handling that hate that people talk about, and ultimately laughing at it, which is literally what I do, but kind of celebrating why it is that we are Disney adults.
You have a chapter in the book that I loved. It was love for the films, and kind of your Disney addiction always starts with movies. And it actually reminded me of my story of like, that is why I have a degree in filmmaking and broadcasting, and I make TV commercials. And so like, it's from that Disney love of the films. And so I love that chapter because it reminded me of me as a kid and just falling in. That's the first step, I think, of any Disney adult. You watch Aladdin in theaters as a kid and you're hooked right away.
Yeah. I think it's interesting though because it has such a long span of kind of the movies. It starts so early, obviously, you know, pre-war and everything when Walt even thought he started doing his features. So people like throughout history have joined the kind of storytelling journey at all different points, and then they kind of like go back and fall in love with the old ones and then fall in love with the modern stuff. So yeah, it kind of creates this really lovely generational thing with all different ages.
That is a good point. What was the most challenging part of writing this book?
I think the obvious one is kind of like navigating it around working a full-time job. Production hours aren't really giving. They tend to be like 12-hour days, and it's sometimes 5 or 6 days a week. And then you add a London commute on that, and I barely have time to sleep. So I just kind of stopped sleeping and decided to write instead. But I think above that, really, ultimately, it's the fear of failing that kind of always hangs over. Because it's, you know, putting something out there in the world is a really scary thing, especially when it's something creative, because it kind of puts you in such a vulnerable position. But I read a quote not so long ago that went something like, doubt kills more dreams than failure. And so I've just kind of, that's always kind of stuck with me, and I'd kind of rather go down trying than never try at all. So that's
I love that
here.
quote. That's
Yeah, I
great.
do.
That's our motto now for our podcast. Yeah. That's why we beg for 5-star reviews, is to make us feel good about our creative endeavor. but you're right. Putting something creative out there, it gets so much criticism. Everybody's an expert that's never done it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's amazing. So we totally can feel that. So what was like maybe your favorite part of putting the book together?
I think it was like feeling that it was coming together, and then like kind of as I was researching it, because like as much as I talk about like the negative side of being a Disney adult and stuff like that, like it's very much like my love letter to Disney and everything that I love about it. So I think it was kind of getting to research that and look at it at a wider perspective. Like I delved right into like the Disney community and like looking at how people like communicate with each other and can be really empowering. And I genuinely just loved that. Like it was like a proper confirmation for me that I was like, yeah, I'm so happy that I love this. And yeah, it's great.
Now, when you say research, does that mean you got to go to the parks? Like, hey, I got to research. I got to go to Walt Disney World for a week. It's a work trip.
Oh, absolutely. It's completely compulsory. I was like, I literally can't get out of this. It's for work. So I have to be there.
Yeah.
That's what Doug and I tell our wives and friends. It's a work trip. The run, Doug's running for a work trip.
Right. It really is. I would not be doing the springtime surprise if it was not to try to finagle people, to trick them into traveling with us, to be there and us. That's really the only reason. That, and I needed motivation to get off my butt. And I knew the rope drop listeners would hold me accountable, as they are. They are. They keep asking how I'm doing. I'm not really.
You do not have a chapter on Run Disney Adults. That's a whole different book. Yeah,
it's the next
book. Your sequel. That's a whole different level of Disney adulting.
There is a very small section where it is referenced, but it's very small because I just cannot relate. Like, I can't relate to that at all. The only running I'm doing is rope drop, and then that's it. I'm done for the day. So.
Oh yeah, I saw the word when I saw rope drop in the book. I cheered out loud.
That's good. That's you. You know what? When you get in your 30s, you'll start to understand the Run Disney stuff more. You're not old enough yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming. Sorry,
oh no, I don't want it to.
I gotta tell you, as someone who went to a D23, and I know you have not, you got to experience that sometime. That's another level of Disney adulting as well that you gotta check out.
Yeah, I'm really trying. I'm pushing my friends. I'm like, come on, guys, we should do 2026. We should definitely go. So if they're listening to this, guys, 2026, we're going to D23.
There you go.
Yes,
you heard
make
it
it happen.
Go meet Lydia in 2026 at D23. See, now you have
to. There's other authors there and passing out books and meeting people. It's a work trip. Remember, it's always a write-off.
You've said it now, so your listeners will have to hold me accountable, so I can't possibly get out of it now. So
you having to go to that, me having to run, it's really a rough thing when you come on this show. You get roped into things. Like tricked onto Everest and Space Mountain in Star Tours. That's happened to me before. Okay. Where can people find How to Be a Disney Adult?
So it is currently available on Amazon. So they can find it by searching the title or my name, or it is linked to my Instagram, which is literally just my name, Lydia Steiner. So it's super easy.
And we'll put it in the show notes as well, and we'll share it on our social media at Rope Drop Radio this week. So yeah, listeners, I've given it a read. It's not super long, and so that's what I like about it. I also like your tone is very blunt and direct. We'll say, and it's
adult.
I enjoyed that. It's got some adult words in there, and I really liked it. So I've read a lot of Disney books, and so. Jumping in, I read it quickly because it was a fun read, and it's almost like I felt like I was talking to you or listening to you just through your words.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. Well, in honor of Disney adulting, we're going to play a little game. We're going to play this game that's all about Disney adults, and it's you might be a Disney adult if ... and we'll fill it in. This is a lot better than Jeff Foxworthy's You Might Be a Redneck if. This is way cooler because we're all Disney adults here, and deep down inside every adult has a little bit of Disney in them, I like to feel. So we're going to go around the horn. We will start with Lydia, our guest, and then work our way around and either agree, disagree, harass, love each other's comments. We'll see where it goes. All right, Lydia, you are first up. You might be a Disney adult if.
So if you care more about Disney World news than real life news.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that's a good one. That's on my list.
Yeah, that wasn't even on my list, but Man, whenever there's like breaking Disney news, like for example, when the Star
Right.
Cruiser closed, I got over 400 text messages. No one texts me with like political drama or anything like that. But yeah, Star Cruiser, 400 texts.
We literally did it while we were away. Like when they dropped the Muppets news, it was literally like it was like, you'll never guess what. And immediately, like my head was like, something's happened to Disney. Like it wasn't anything else. It wasn't like that. There's any world news or it didn't even care if something happened to my family. I was like, what's happened to Disney? I was like, oh my god, my first thought, and
The
I was absolutely
Muppets.
right. I was like the Muppets.
Oh, that was earth shattering. Yeah, I mean, there could have been an earthquake in South America, or the Muppets lost a movie. Either or.
Yep.
I like that. That's.
I know when my phone's vibrating a lot, like I'm at work doing a shoot, and I'm like, okay, there's got to be Disney news. If it's just like constant, I'm like, it's something happened.
There you go. All right,
All right. My first one, you might be a Disney adult, and this is currently happening in my house right now as we speak. If you have a whole separate Christmas tree just for your Disney ornaments that you've gotten all the years in the parks, that's Disney cruise ship ornaments, that's ride ornaments, that's we honeymoon there ornaments. We have a whole tree, and now the tree isn't big enough. So we're actually looking at investing in an even bigger tree that's going to be bigger than our main tree. So we have a lot of Disney ornaments. So definitely Disney adult thing. And little caveat, I have Disney inflatables in my front yard too for Christmas. So yeah,
Shocking.
Disney Christmas. Yep.
Oh, absolutely. It's giving like, like the Disney Springs, those Christmas tree stroll.
Oh yeah.
Like that's,
Yep.
I just feel like eventually that's going to be my house. Like there's no other way. There's no other direction this is going in.
The Christmas tree trail is a very underrated Christmas attraction for sure. All those.
Yep.
So we have one that is just Pluto's, just one character. So yeah, that's my wife's. That's not my doing. I'm not that particular about a character. Just one character, Derek.
Yeah, but I've seen some of the Disney cruise people. They have all the ships and all the cruise things. Like they have whole cruise trees. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're not quite. Ours still fits on the main tree. Grant, you can't really see tree under the ornaments.
Yeah, it's just all ornaments.
There, it's just we'd be better off just getting a rack at some point. But that's a good one, Derek. I like it. I like it.
All right. What about you?
Right.
What are you starting off
so,
with?
I'm starting off with you might be a Disney adult if you have to explain your T-shirt to the average person in the park because you're disappointed not enough people are understanding it. When your shirt has some sort of deep cut reference that in your mind is the most obvious thing in the world and people just don't get it. That's when you might be a Disney adult. I have that problem. Yeah. And I know I just ordered a bunch of shirts that are going to be like that too from a couple weeks ago. So
Potato Land shirt. Absolutely.
Yeah. When you got to explain your outfits or you got to explain how you're Disney bounding, right? Like,
Disney bounding. Yeah, that's definitely a Disney adult thing.
Have you ever had it happen like at the attraction or anything like that?
Where you're literally standing by the thing and I mean, maybe not quite.
I feel like that would hurt. That would cut even deeper, wouldn't it? If that's what happened.
And I also feel the need to explain it. No one asked either. No one's ever asked for the explanation of the shirt. But I've explained to some cast members before where they're like, you can tell they're staring at it. The wheels are turning and you fill it in. And they're like, yeah, I didn't care. I'm clocking in, clocking out. I don't care about your shirt. I was just staring off into space. Yeah,
so my Not My Dino shirt is gonna, no one's gonna understand when Indiana Jones. Why is he wearing a dinosaur shirt in Indiana Jones?
It's the best. It's Not My Dino. We're not gonna make it. Okay, Lydia, what is your next one?
So kind of on theme with that, actually. If you sorry. This is where the time is catching up with me. If you shed a tear, if a ride or attraction that you like is shutting down or being replaced.
Or even going under refurb.
Yeah, so it's down for your trip.
Yep.
It is hard. It is hard. I know people that book trips before things close. The Great Movie Ride, there's people that went just for that. And I'm like, have you been on it in the last couple of years? And then,
Yeah, say goodbye.
So are you going to have to make sure to get there before the Muppets escape the Muppets courtyard?
That might actually be my next selling point. That is actually a really good point.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
we was
Pizza
like
Rizzo's.
dinosaur. Yes, yeah. No, we were like this with Dinosaur when we last saw when we went on. It was like, really take this in, guys, because this will probably be the last time we ever ride it. And then I think they announced earlier today that it's actually going to be open for the whole of 2025.
Right.
And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
we can maybe fit another one in then.
Yeah.
I can get a picture with my shirt in front of yes.
Oh, yes. Yes. Bug's Life might be the first thing to disappear in all of this, but we've known that. I don't think anybody's sad about that one, though. All right, Derek.
Good one.
You
might be a Disney adult if you're going on the app, the Walt Disney World app. You're looking at wait times, you're planning out trips, and you're not even anywhere near the parks. You're at work, or it's somewhere random during the day. It's like Tuesday, and you're like, there's only a 20-minute wait for Rise right now. I wish I was there. And you're like, I'm not even going to be there for 6 months. Why am I even on the app right now? So yes, that is when you're definitely a Disney adult when you're living vicariously in the parks and you're not even there.
Do you do that, Lydia? I mean,
I am so guilty of this.
Okay.
I've actually been caught out doing this like by my boss before. I literally just been like sat there at my desk and they got even. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just." I was like, "Oh, it's a Disney thing." And she's like, "Are you looking at wait times?" And I was like, "I just a bit of research, I'm just planning." She's like, "You literally don't even go for months. Like, why are you looking at this?" And I'm like, "I'm intrigued. I want to know."
It happens all the time. It's easy. It's easy to do. It's a slippery slope, but you can find a lot of things. I often like to look to see. So a couple years ago, mobile order pushed way out all the time on the counter services. So there was a time where I would start a mobile order just to see what time window I could get relative to when I wanted to act. So I was ready for when we were there. Doing that for months. That's concerning.
I just see that as organized. I think that's just impressive.
Right? That's the way our community sees it, is a go-getter. But you try to explain that to a non-Disney person, and they just look at you like you are the dumbest human ever. But they'd be the ones going on their once-in-a-lifetime trip and standing there lost in the middle of Main Street. So, joke's on them. All right. So mine is, you might be a Disney adult if you leave Epcot after fireworks and realize you never went on an attraction.
Done that before.
Yeah, it happens. You're just like, oh, I guess we festivaled all day.
Just eat and drink around the world. Didn't even get on a ride.
Some of the shows that are outside, you had a good time chatting with friends. This is why we have meetups. Some of those meetup days, Derek, it's like, oh, we didn't do a thing. Yeah.
That's the great thing about an annual pass. You might be a Disney adult if you have an annual pass. There you go. Throw that in there with it. But it's...
And live in Nebraska, right?
Yep.
So is that something that you've ever done? Because you don't get to go multiple times a year, do you, Lydia?
Yeah, it took me a minute for that one to register with me. I was like, is that possible? But I actually think sometimes that should be done, because I have been guilty of doing festivaling hard, drinking around the world, and then going on an attraction. And I think that's even worse if you do that than if you just like sit it and maybe just see the fireworks, go back to your resort, go, everything's fine. No, there's me running from Mexico with Margarita in a hand, like, let's go on test track before it shuts. Like, So yeah.
No, that's when you run to Abracadabar or Topolino's for the next round.
Yes, I mean, that's what it should be doing, rather than like getting in a queue trying to make a car, like when I
or Mission Space Orange after eating around the world.
You don't want a protein spill on that. That's
no.
Like, well, I've already had 3 adult beverages. I might as well just keep going.
So, all right, Lydia, what is your third and final thing here?
So a little bit relevant again, I suppose it has to be if you're willing to travel 8 to 10 hours on a flight to go to Disney World frequently.
That's a solid one. Yeah.
I mean, we live in Nebraska, and so it's still 4 or 5 hours flying sometimes if we can't get a direct flight.
Oh, not direct. Okay, I was about to ask you what plane you were on flying for 5
direct
hours.
Is 3:15.
Hours. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If that was my flight, I'd be there every weekend. Like,
we just don't have that many directs.
If our airlines could figure out pricing.
Yeah, that too. We live in the middle of nowhere, roughly, Lydia. If you look at America and then you pick the spot that you're like, no one probably lives there, that's where Derek and I live.
Yep. And yet we have annual passes. We go.
Yeah.
We are Disney adults.
You make it work. I love that.
Yep.
We try. All right, Derek.
You might be a Disney adult if all your shirts, all your cups, you can't see it, but I'm just going to take a drink out of my Grogu mug right here. Oh, wait, this wall behind me covered in Disney posters. We have our staircase is one giant mural to Disney merch and stuff. So if you have a room in your house that is dedicated to Disney, you might be a Disney adult. And so, yes, we have a lot of rooms dedicated, from a Star Wars movie theater to my kids have a Grogu section of the room. It's crazy. But yes, if you have merch all over your house, you are a Disney adult, and proudly display it.
No, I feel that. I definitely feel that. I'm literally sat here looking. I can see bags of souvenirs I bought for my most recent trip that just don't have a home yet, because I'm like, I do not know where they're going to go. And then you're getting judgment from yourself, where I'm like, why have I done this? Where is this going to go? But I'm like, I've took this too far once again.
So ours all lives in the basement because of that Disney adult shame, which you address in the book very well, right? The negative connotation. So my wife won't put it all upstairs where the average person sees it. It's just all literally surrounding me at the moment.
It's just on the Christmas tree.
Yeah, the Christmas tree is a whole different thing because that's from trips. Even though there's more than one ornament per trip at times. I mean, we still got our honeymoon one on there. It's hanging in there. So, yeah, that's a good one, Derek. You do have is it your stairwell where it's all the pictures?
The 2 stairwell that's got all the pictures, and whether it be souvenirs, magic bands, D23 pins, all of our pin collections. And it's funny, then the stuff that doesn't make the wall, that's what you see behind me. And that's what you see over, you can't see it over there, but it's just funny that then you have the backup, the stuff my wife's not putting up goes to Derek's office.
Before I give my last one, I have one that I think a lot of people think makes you a Disney adult, but I have evidence it does not. And that's eating off of a trash can. So a lot of people would think eating off of a trash can is a quintessential, oh, you're a Disney adult, you're eating festival food on a trash can. I can say this is not true because my children do it and they're not adults. So that's just a fact.
Okay.
I feel like the difference with that is you can pick out the Disney adults because they're the ones doing it proudly. They would actually choose the trash can over a table. They're like, yeah, this is how we do this here. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, and when our kids do it, it's because it's Christmas or Thanksgiving and it's crazy and they're just finding a place to eat their food, right? And it's trash can. We do it without the kids though, so it's definitely a Disney adult thing. I just had one counterpoint to that, and none of you brought it up for me to argue. So I was disappointed in me not getting to argue.
I don't have time for the trash can, man. I'm getting the food and just going to the next
thing.
You
are usually done with the food before you get to the next booth. You just keep moving.
Yep.
And then you get distracted by
no time
kids.
for a trash can. I do.
Yeah, you do get distracted. All right. So my last one, you might be a Disney adult if when you pack for a week-long cruise, you take one carry-on that is 50% mouse ears.
Love it.
That's not me, but my wife. Half of a carry-on, and my daughter's half of it just packed full of ears. And the packing process is this outfit's fine, this outfit's fine, throw that in there. The ear selection's like a NBA draft or something going on, this ear shall be worn on this day. And it's
my wife does the same thing. Different ears for different outfits.
I'm so guilty of that. I actually buy outfits for ears. That's what it's gotten to. That's a point. Yeah. Instead of finding an outfit thinking, oh, let's find some ears that go with that. I'll find ears I like, and I'm like, oh, let's find an outfit that goes with that.
Love it.
Makes sense. In this safe space, it makes sense. I don't have ears though, Derek. I don't wear any.
We wear the Rope Drop Radio hats so people can recognize us and show off the. If we had Rope Drop Radio ears, who knows?
Who knows?
That could be a future thing.
Could it?
You might be a Disney adult if you're making your own Disney merch to take on your trip.
Yeah, which I guess we do.
Yep.
Yeah. So next time you go, Lydia, you need to wear a shirt that's just got the book cover on it.
Yes.
And a giant
I'm a
QR
Disney
code.
author, and there you go.
I love this. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to write this down. This is what you'll see me walking around D23 with a massive QR code on my back.
Perfect.
I've seen that, and I've scanned them before too.
Because I'm so curious, like, what is it? It's never anything cool though, Derek.
Yep.
One time I scanned it and it was a religious page. I was like, they got me. And one was political. I'm like, I thought it'd be something like a Disney book or podcast or never.
No, but that's at D23. That's the place to do it. Just back of your shirt. Love it.
Look at what all the things we're talking you into. I don't know that we're a good influence, Lydia.
It's fine. I prefer being around people who are bad influences. It's so much more fun. So.
Excellent.
Disney influences, not good or bad, just Disney.
Just Disney.
I have a bonus one, Doug. That no one
I was going to
said.
ask if you guys have bonuses.
You might be a Disney adult if you're listening to Rope Drop Radio or any Disney podcast, because I find myself only listening to Disney podcasts. Like my daughter was like, "How much music do you listen to?" And I'm like, "I don't even have music on my phone. Like I only listen to podcasts." So there you go.
I still listen to music. I guess I'm one step below Derek on that. Yep. Lydia, do you have any bonus ones?
Not that I can think of. I feel like you guys have covered some really good ones.
That's what we tend to do.
I suppose maybe if you obsess over learning how to do the new lightning lane that seems to change like every single time I go, it's a whole new different process, but I still get sucked in and like watch all the YouTube videos and read all the books about it and things like that. So I suppose if like you still get sucked into wanting to learn everything about it.
I think I misheard her say she listens to podcasts to learn how to do it. I don't know, Derek.
Yeah. I just feel like that goes without saying. It doesn't.
Okay. I heard these other platforms. I don't think those exist. No, I'm joking, messing with you. So that will do it for You Might Be a Disney Adult. There's no good way to end that. All right. So Derek, Lydia, it is time for the lightning round. Multipass. All right. So for this, Lydia, you will answer with your favorite Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, Fox, whatever under the corporate umbrella you choose. There are points. They are made up and we will judge. Are you ready?
I am so ready.
All right.
All these are in the book too, is what I love. So it's great.
I mean, I've never been more prepared for anything in my life. I was less prepared for my degree than this. So.
Maybe we'll have to follow up on some of them just to.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Favorite Disney movie?
The Lion King.
It's a good. We can't argue with that.
Nope.
Oh, and Pride.
There literally isn't an argument.
Yeah. Pride Rock Coming to Paris is very intriguing.
Oh, that looks cool.
When I want to get back to Paris sooner rather than then, but when that opens, that's definitely we gotta figure it out. So yeah, Pride Rock. That's huge. Okay, I got off track already. Sorry. All right, favorite Disney character.
I feel like this is such a hard one because there are so many good ones. And you're definitely going to judge me for this one. That this is absolutely my toxic trait and way of thinking. But my favorite character is Gaston.
I mean, he eats a lot of eggs.
He does.
Big, strong guy. I see it.
There's just something about wearing a cape that is under one armpit and is like slanted. And I'm just like, he really works it. And I'm here for it. So
I could not. So
can't pull that look off.
Yeah, I'm definitely more a LeFou. So,
LeFou, you beat me to it. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Favorite Disney villain?
Literally don't have to think about this one. Absolutely Hades every time.
The best
you
one.
And Doug.
I think you're the first person to say that on the show. I might be wrong. I apologize if I'm wrong. Someone else did, but he is the best. He's hilarious. The cruise line used to have a show called Villains Tonight, and he was the host of it. Oh, it was the best ever. The best ever. All right. Favorite Disney song. This can be like from a movie or a theme park song or, anything.
It's Go the Distance from Hercules.
Okay.
It literally just gets me every time. That part of Happily Ever After, when it goes into that, it breaks me every single time.
Yeah, they do a good job using that in the evening entertainment at the parks, don't they? They get you. All right. Favorite Disney park?
I feel like this changes every single time I go. I seem to like find a new love for a different park. And prior to this trip where we just went, I fell in love with Epcot again. I don't know if that's just because of like I hit the drinking age and I was like, yay, Epcot's amazing. Like I love it now. But last time when we just got back from this trip, I was like, I've just fallen in love with Hollywood Studios all over again. So I think I have to say that.
It's the best, yeah. It's hard to argue. And they're going to have Muppets on the other side of the park now. So that's good. So many people are just yelling at their radios right now, right, Derek? Okay. That's a good choice. I like it. All right. Favorite classic attraction you define classic?
Thunder Mountain.
Okay. Which one, since you've been to Paris and Florida, which one do you like better?
I think maybe I've been on it more recently, but probably the one in Florida. Okay. Like I just love it. It just makes me laugh every time. I don't know why. I think just because it throws you about. It's so loud. Like it's just brilliant.
Breaks up kidney stones.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Every time I go on it, I think that.
Yeah. It's medical. You can write that off as a medical expense then. I think. I don't know. Not an accountant. All right. Favorite modern attraction you define modern?
Flight of Passage.
It's a good one. Yeah. It's there.
All right. Favorite Disney resort?
Grand Floridian. Now, okay. I have never actually stayed there. I went recently to see all the gingerbread houses and stuff like that for Christmas. And I walked in and I was like, oh, this resort is everything I'm not, but everything I want to be, which is like classy. And I was like, whatever happens in life, one day I will earn enough money to stay here, or I'm just going to have to marry very well. But either way, we'll make it happen.
Love it. Love those options. Yeah. But, yep.
Yeah. And I like it's everything I'm not, but everything I want to be. That's Grand Floridian. It's, you nailed it. And it smells like gingerbread this time of year, which is fascinating. And it has so many great things.
That's a whole future episode. What resort are you? And so you got to think of like what resort matches your personality.
Quick, Derek, what resort am I?
I was going to say contemporary.
Ooh, so I thought you'd say like all-star music or something.
Also, no, you're not that musical.
I was just thinking values.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We were thinking way opposite ends of the spectrum.
I was being a nice guy.
You were being nice. I wouldn't have been. Okay.
You're definitely not Wilderness Lodge though.
No, I'm not Wilderness Lodge.
And you're definitely not Polly.
You're kind of a Wilderness Lodge guy.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe Polly, actually. That's where Derek is. If you were a resort.
Anyway, that's a future episode.
Okay. All right. Favorite counter service restaurant?
Just because I was obsessed with the chicken and waffles recently, Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good one. It's a hidden gem. Sleepy Hollow, right there off the hub in the Magic Kingdom. It's fantastic. All right. Favorite table service restaurant?
Roundup Rodeo Barbecue. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was good the second time, Doug. I had a really bad experience the first time. They fixed it, so it's a lot better.
Had to twist his arm to get him back.
To go. Yeah.
And it was good the second time.
It was good. It was great. Yes.
It's good. I don't know.
I'm so glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just the atmospheres. They've improved everything.
Yeah,
from food to atmosphere to service. They got it figured out finally. All right. No pressure, but this is a really important one. Favorite Disney snack?
I don't know how this is going to go down. It could go one of either way, but I am a cheeseburger spring roll stan, so I love those spring rolls.
I read that in your book, and it made me laugh because it's not in my top at all.
Yeah, we don't get it. We're of the side of that line's too long for that thing. Yeah.
I do see where you're coming from. I do know what you mean, but even I went to Disney with a first timer, like recently I just went with my friend and I was like, hey, we're going to try these. And I was like, I just need to know whether it's like something I'm just inventing in my head that it's good or if it's actually good. And she was so obsessed. She went back and got them a second time. So I was like,
that is a good indicator. Okay. Yeah. I often wonder if sometimes I build up hype in my head too. But fortunately, I'm married, and that helps get rid of any hype that I have about
maybe in April, Doug, you and I go.
We'll hype it up. We'll try those again.
We'll do a meetup there.
Is there shade? I need shade. No, I'm joking. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I need to get to work on that. All right. Favorite Disney drink?
This one was a close one. Did have to really, really think about this, but I think it's going to have to go to Tokyo Sunrise Cocktail in Japan in Epcot.
Finally, a nice specific drink, Derek. Yeah. You know how many times we hear water? That's too practical. All right.
I was thinking really good at, it's a specific drink. Don't worry.
Where's it at in Japan?
It's the booth where the drummers are. I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. We were quite a few countries in at this point, so
that's all you need to know. The booth. The booth does it. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure it out. All right. And last but not least, a Disney travel bucket list item.
So is this has to be something in the parks?
Just any Disney bucket list.
Yeah, you can, whatever.
Parks, cruise, D23, anything.
Okay. I think it has to go to staying in the Cinderella Castle suite. I would, there's not much I wouldn't do to make that happen, to be fair. So I think it has to go to that.
We had a guest on one time who just nonchalant was like, yeah, I stayed there once. And we're like, go on, and had talked about it on Patreon.
I'd literally be like, did we just become best friends? I need to know everything about that. I need to feel like I was there.
And it was everything you thought it would be in their descriptions. So, yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, that concludes the lightning round.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Take a minute, tell people where they can find you, and again, plug the book.
So my book called How to Be a Disney Adult is available on Amazon and is by me, Lydia Steiner. And there will also be a link on my Instagram page, which is my name. So nice and easy to find. So yes, thank you so much.
No, thank you. It's a great book, listeners. Please go buy it, support a local, well, not really across the seas author.
Small,
but yes,
small
creator. Business. There you go. Creator. I love it. And so it makes a great Christmas gift. So there you go. Perfect stocking stuffer, a Christmas book to your fellow Disney adult. So we want to hear from you guys as well. So that is going to be a question on Rope Drop Radio. What makes you a Disney adult? What do you do? What do you have? We want to hear all the fun ones. I know we miss so many of them.
Yeah.
So let's keep the conversation going. So follow us at Rope Drop Radio and all the things. And of course, if you want to go to Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Paris, go on a cruise, you need to check out our amazing sponsors over at Touring and Cruises. They'll help you have an amazing vacation, and it is about to be 2025 and you need to take a vacation. You should probably take one with us in April, but then take another one with the family as well. And then we are going to get over to Patreon. Lydia is going to join us on there, talk a little bit more about what she does and some more of her trips. And so if you want to hear that and all of our Patreon content, just help support our show, click that link in the show notes. And thank you to all of our Patreons for your continued support. But for Lydia and Doug, I'm Derek. You've been listening to Rope Drop Radio.